This is Galaxy Television News, our top stories. President Muhammadu Buhari receives briefings from the Chief of Defense Staff, Service Chiefs, the IGP, and other heads of security agencies at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. Minister of Power, Engineer Abubakar Aliyu, says he will strive to deliver on his mandate and to make the president proud in his new posting. And outside Nigeria, Polish parliament backs a state of emergency on the Belarus border amid a surge in migration and upcoming Russian-led military exercises. Those are our top stories. Details coming up in just a moment. It is a pleasure to have you join us on Galaxy Television News for this time. I'm Solomon Ofem. President Muhammadu Buhari on Tuesday received the briefings from the Chief of Defense Staff, Service Chiefs, the Inspector General of Police, and other heads of security agencies at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. Also at the meeting are the Ministers of Defense, Bashir Magashi, Justice Abubakar Malami, Police Affairs, Megiri Dingyadi, Interior, Rafa Regbeshola, and Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema. Newsmen gathered that attendees at the meeting are expected to brief the president on the current security situation across the country, as well as profile solutions. This is as banditry, kidnapping, and killings have escalated in the country. The insecurity situation in the country worsened with the emergence of criminal gangs, often with hundreds of members, who raid communities, steal cattle, and kidnap residents for ransom after looting and burning homes. Many northern states, especially Kaduna, Katsina, Zamfara, and Niger states, are the worst hit, with people being kidnapped for weeks and months. States in southwest and southeast are also being affected by insecurity.
From the meeting, we believe that the space in which these things are happening in Zamfara State and North Central is a source of concern to the government and to all agencies that are responsible for the execution of the operations in the North Central.
The President has also observed and make a reaffirming remark that the constitutional responsibility of government is the provision of security is one and is foremost, and he is ready to provide such. We should reinvigorate our efforts, which are yielding results in the Northeast, Southeast, but there is more things to be done in the North Central.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari says Saudi Arabia government has been kind to Nigeria in their bilateral relationships and relations rather. President Buhari made the statement after he received Saudi Arabian Minister of Foreign Affairs, His Royal Highness Prince Faisal bin Farhan Al Saud, in his office in Abuja. The president said with Nigeria's large population and infrastructure deficit, the country needed all the revenue she could get from oil, a mainstay of the economy. And Saudi Arabia, they said, has been very kind to Nigeria, making sacrifice by reducing production to accommodate the country a number of times. Prince Al Saud brought greetings from King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, saying the kingdom appreciates the relationship with Nigeria, which dates back 60 years, saying Nigeria wants to strengthen it even further. Minister of Foreign Affairs gave insight on the bilateral relations between Nigeria and Saudi Arabia.
the Foreign Minister is here, and we're going to be having a more detailed discussions on Saudi-Nigeria relations in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. But he took the opportunity of his visit to come and deliver greetings of His Majesty the King of Saudi Arabia to Mr. President, and to assure Mr. President of the commitment of the Saudi government to strengthen even further the relationship between the two countries.
In the same vein, the federal government has disclosed plans to strengthen bilateral relations between Nigeria and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in areas of business, trade, and security. Minister of Foreign Affairs Godfrey Oyama was speaking after a round-table discussion with the visiting Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Faisal bin Farhan, to Nigeria on Tuesday. He said the two countries has discussed various matters of mutual interest and has agreed to strengthen their relationships to explore an area of business, trade, and security. The minister was optimistic that the two countries can increase their bilateral relations to fight the global challenge of terrorism, insurgency, and state actors that destabilize countries around the world.
Keen to diversify, two big countries looking to increase the level of trade between our two countries, and hence, during the last visit of Mr. President to Saudi Arabia, he agreed with the Crown Prince the importance of setting up a business council to bring Nigerian businessmen and Saudi, men and women and Saudi businessmen and women together to explore areas of trade and business.
Minister of Foreign Affairs of Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Faisal bin Farhan, on his part, believes that his visit to Nigeria will further enhance the close cooperation existing between both countries.
And based on those bonds, we have many opportunities to cooperate and to work together and to build a strong partnership. And this is why I'm happy to be here today in Nigeria to discuss with my colleague, His Excellency the Minister of Foreign Affairs, how to build on that relationship and how to strengthen those bonds.
The Minister of Power, Engineer Abubakar Aliyu, says he will strive to deliver on his mandate and to make the President proud in his new posting. Abubakar Aliyu gave the assurance while addressing State House correspondents after a meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari at the State House, Abuja, Tuesday. The minister, who just assumed office as a substantive minister of the Ministry Power, said he is still acclimatizing with his new office with a view to getting acquainted with staff members there. He said he got the news of his redeployment from the Ministry of Works and Housing while abroad, saying he will soon come out with plans and objectives to make the ministry more viable. The minister told journalists he was on quarantine throughout last week, a reason he did not resume his duties immediately after the minor reshuffle. Stating that President Muhammadu Buhari gave him words of encouragement, the minister said he would extend the internal ministerial briefing to DISCOs, GENCOs, and the Transmission Company of Nigeria.
I came here this evening to brief Mr. President, President Muhammadu Buhari, that I have resumed work and I have started receiving briefing yesterday from the staff of the ministry, and subsequently I will extend it to other areas of the ministry. That is to say, the GENCOs, the Transmission Company, the TCN, then the DISCOs.
Still ahead on Galaxy Television News, Sunday Igboho shows quote how 2 persons were killed and the extent of damage done to his house after resumed hearing in a suit against AGF and DSS. We're bringing you details of these and more when we come back from our break. Stay tuned. It is good to have you back. This is Galaxy Television News. For more updates and latest news, visit our website, galaxytvonline.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Galaxy TV Nigeria. You can follow and interact with us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Galaxy TV. Don't forget to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Official Galaxy TV. You can also avail our eyewitness feature via WhatsApp. If you have breaking news around you, simply share your story by sending short clips or videos of the news on 0818-6666-669. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live updates and comments. The Federal High Court in Abuja has ordered the partial unfreezing of the account of mobile money operator, which is among 6 the Central Bank of Nigeria had their account frozen over alleged breach of operational guidelines. Justice Ahmed Mohammed Tuesday ordered the partial unfreezing of the CBN by the CBN of the account of Bamboo Systems Technology Limited and Bamboo Systems Technology Limited (OPNS) to allow payment of rents and for salaries of staff that are being owed due to the account freeze. This ruling followed a motion on notice by the company's lawyer, Chiezonu Okpoko. Okpoko told the court that his clients are ready to resolve amicably the issue between it and the CBN. Counsel to CBN Governor Michael Owanduaka had said that CBN has no intention to cripple businesses, noting it is keen on making sure that they operate within the well-stated operational guidelines. Other platforms affected by the order for account freeze are Rise Vest Technologies Limited, Tracker Technologies Limited, CTL Business Expenses, and Trove Technologies Limited. The Yoruba activist Sunday Adeyemo, also known as Sunday Igboho, on Tuesday showed the court how 2 persons were killed and the extent of damage done to his house and other property by officers of the State Security Service. Correspondent Kunle reported that security was beefed up within and around the Oyo State High Court as the hearing in the suit filed by Igboho commenced. Details in this report.
Oyo State High Court, located at the Ring Road area of Ibadan, the state capital, as officers of the State Security Service and policemen manned strategic locations in the area. Security men attached to the court conducted thorough search on people entering the court, including journalists, while others were barred from the court premises. Vehicular movement into the court was also limited. Have the resumed hearing on the case, The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, through his counsel, Abdullahi Abubakar, represented an application seeking the suspension of the interim order granted to the applicants. Responding, counsel to Sunday Igboho, Yomi Aliu, presented a counter affidavit and written address against the application, praying the court to reject the application for the suspension of the interim order. The court thereafter entertained the originating summon from the Yoruba activist Sunday Igboho through his counsel, where he sought for 15 reliefs regarding the invasion of his house and the destruction of his personal belongings. He tendered 2 flash drives marked Exhibit Oro 9 and Oro 95, which contain video clips of what transpired in his house on July 1st, 2021. Also, counsel to the second and third respondents submitted 2 DVDs with video clips marked as Exhibit DS1 and DS2. All the clips were played in the court following the directive of the presiding judge, Justice Oladiran Akintola. On his part, counsel to the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, prayed the court to dismiss the case on the ground that the applicant has failed to prove his case before the courts. All attempts to get the reaction of counsel to the first, second, and third respondent to the proceeding proved abortive, as they were shielded out of the court by officers from the Department of State Security Service. Counsel to the applicant, Yomi Aliu, commended the judge for his patience.
Now adjourned for ruling stroke judgment. Ruling will come if there are preliminary objections, succeed, and judgment comes if the preliminary objections are thrown out. So we are coming back to court for judgment next week.
The case has been adjourned to September 17, 2021 for ruling and judgment. From the State High Court in Ibadan, Kunle Ojo, Galaxy TV.
The 17 southern states agreed to put a ban on open grazing in their states on 1st of September, but 7 days later, only 5 southern states have successfully done this. Galaxy's Valerie Choma explored this.
17 governors of the southern states met on the 5th of July 2021 in Lagos and agreed to set September 1st as the deadline for the ban of open grazing in the south. The resolution was based on the development and population growth believed to have put pressure on available land and increased prospect of conflicts between migrating herders and local residents in the south. However, of all the 17 southern states, only 5 states, namely Bayelsa, Rivers, Oyo, Ekiti, and Abia have fully signed the anti-grazing bill into law. There is nothing to indicate that the law is on the way in Cross River, Ebonyi, and Anambra states. In Lagos, the bill has scaled through the first and second reading, likewise Ondo, Osun, and Ogun states. It is on this premise the public affairs analysts Maduka and Chilaka have called on the Lagos State House of Assembly to be proactive in passing the bill, as that is a major way of curbing insecurity and maintaining.
If there's any government that's supposed to be more proactive, it should be Lagos State, because the governor was there sitting. So I think we don't make excuses for lapses. As far as I'm concerned, Lagos State have reneged. They've not done what they ought to do. I don't see any reason why Lagos State is coming behind. Whether they read it second reading or third term, the issue that there was a mandate, and that mandate is sacrosanct, that it should start 1st of September, and which they renounced. Like I said, I don't expect Lagos State to renege, being part of the core state governors who were present in the first and second meetings.
Start with, in the 21st century, we shouldn't be talking about open grazing. I've always been of the opinion that cattle business is actually a private business. I would say that curbing insecurity in Nigeria, especially in the south, falls on the shoulders of our leaders. And they need to do the right thing now before it gets out of hand. But for us to curb insecurity, especially in the south, the leaders in the south should do the right thing. They should do the needful, and follow others who have started it and bring it to a logic conclusion.
They recommended that the federal government should support willing states to develop alternative and modern livestock management systems. Most importantly, address Nigerians on the frightening state of insecurity across the nation. Valerie Chioma, Galaxy TV News, Lagos.
The National Bureau of Statistics said that the amount spent on the importation of premium motor spirits, petrol, in the first half of 2021 has jumped to 1.47 trillion naira, which is more than 73% of what was incurred in the whole of 2019. According to the NBS data, petrol import gobbled up 782.46 billion naira in the second quarter of this year. To be recalled that the National Assembly has passed the Petroleum Industry Bill PIB 2021, and the key objective of the Petroleum Industry Bill is to overhaul and transform the Nigerian oil and gas industry and to bring about the needed vigor and transparency that would in turn engender productivity in the petroleum industry. Galaxy's Daniel Tinimo reports that Lagos State legal practitioners Barrister Elvis Asia and Barrister Kabir Akingbolu highlighted the vast experience and implications of importation to the country's economic growth, adding that corruption is a constant phenomenon in Nigeria and it must be tackled before there will be growth in the country's economy.
It is shocking that, what we have spent in a very short period of time is even almost more than what we spent in the whole of last year. The figures do not add up. Even though I understand that, the exchange rate situation is largely responsible, but, the figures too do not add up. We do not even know for sure what we use daily. How many liters of fuel are we using daily in this country? And who determines it? And what are the, how do we ensure transparency in the process of determining the amount of PMS that is used daily or monthly or yearly in Nigeria? There's no transparency in the way a manner will determine what we are even using in the first place, which will determine how much you are importing.
In 2019, 1.71 trillion was used to import fuel. Now in 2020, it moved to 2.01 trillion. But unfortunately now, in 2021, within a space of 6 months, you are talking about 1.4 trillion. That you have spent that much to import petroleum. This is very unfair on the country. It is a disservice to the people. It is immorality. It is illegal. It is corruption par excellence.
The legal practitioners advised the government to revive the country's refineries in Kaduna, Port Harcourt, Warri, and construct a modular refineries like Watersmith Modular Refinery in Imo State and Edo Modular Refinery in Edo State, which will make petroleum product available in the country, as well as eliminating high cost of importation of petroleum in the country.
There are two major things we need to do. The first one is we must ensure that we build new refineries. We must ensure that we're able to, refine our refined crude locally. And then secondly, we must, find a way of knowing exactly the liters of fuel that Nigerians are using, because right now there's lack of transparency in the process. We need to address that issue. People, there has to be, the government needs to tell Nigerians, expressly exactly what amount of fuel that we're using.
The advice to the government is that they should make our refineries to work. If the refineries are working, even petroleum products will come down. In some African countries, Nigeria is about the country where, one of the African countries where petroleum product is most expensive. If the price is high, it will affect every sphere of life in Nigeria. Transportation will be more expensive. The price of commodities will be more expensive. Food will be more expensive. Clothing will be more expensive. Housing, shelter, everything.
The federal government has met with members of the Joint Health Workers Union of Nigeria, JOHESU, who are threatening to embark on strike beginning from September 17, 2021. The workers had fell out with the federal government over existing demands which has not been met, particularly the non-payment of the frontline workers. Addressing the workers at the commencement of a joint meeting going on in the nation's capital, the Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, frowned at the behavior of the health workers, saying they should contemplate industrial action, especially now that the National Association of President Doctors are also on strike. Ngige wondered why the workers are threatening to go on strike when they are not owed salaries by government. He said the workers were being owed only allowances.
Those owed monthly salaries among the doctors are those who were illegally recruited. Illegally recruited. They have no waiver from Office of Head of Service. They have no waiver from Budget Office of the Federation in terms of the manpower financial need. So the money were not captured. But you hear it. We are not paid, the government is owing our salaries. Let them pay us our salaries. Yet monthly payments are being done as a when due.
The best of times to go on strike by any health worker. Please, it's not.
Emergency.
Aside being a period of pandemic, the constraints are there. We are not saying that those who have worked should not be paid.
When you borrow, you should be using it for capital expenditure, something that you can recoup back, that you can pay back. Sustainability is a key, as the ability to pay. One thing is to agree that we'll pay a certain amount, and then we're unable to do so. But the other is agree on an amount that we can pay now and consistently pay. And I think that that is what is best for all.
Many of the issues are issues that we have discussed over and over. Some were supposed to have been implemented or finished in 5 weeks. But before I go into that, I want to also point out clearly that in your other paper here, one very key item is missing. I don't know if it is an act of omission. If it is, I think we need to put it in there, and that is the adjustment of CONHES.
Chairman of JOHESU, Josiah Biebelemoye, told government representatives that the workers will not embark on strike if their demands are met. Nigerian health authorities have now circulated both the Moderna and AstraZeneca vaccines to all 36 states of the country and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. This information came to light Tuesday in Abuja during the weekly briefing on the state of COVID-19 vaccination in the country, organized by the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency. Galaxy's Godfrey Eshimugo report that so far, a little over 1 million have received the Moderna vaccines, while the administering of the first dose of AstraZeneca has now resumed after Nigeria took delivery of additional 1.3 million doses of the vaccine. Both the World Health Organization and UNICEF have described as heartwarming the pace of coverage in vaccine rollout since the start of the second phase.
As of 6 September 2021, a total of 3,600,858 eligible Nigerians have so far received their first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. This is made up of 2,551,738 persons vaccinated with the AstraZeneca vaccine and 1,049,120 persons vaccinated with the Moderna vaccine.
Week-on-week analysis have shown that the average daily uptake of first dose of Moderna and second dose of AstraZeneca has increased to 94,000 and over 14,000 respectively. This trend needs to be sustained.
Within 2 weeks of starting Moderna vaccination, 1 million people have been vaccinated. And in the last week, 3 times the country touched 100,000 per day mark. And that's something really commendable. And moving forward, we need to ensure that we touch this mark of 100,000 per day very consistently.
Fears of grieved resident of Ibadan, Oyo State, following reported outbreak of cholera in some parts of the state. Cholera, a killer bacterial disease causing severe diarrhea and dehydration, is reported to have broken out at Araromi, Idowu, Bakatari, Umiadio, and Akwete in Ido local government area of Oyo State. It could not be officially confirmed the number of casualties at the time of filing this report. Investigation revealed that patients who were infected with the killer disease were either administered with local herbs or rushed to private health facilities at Bakatari and Umiadio for medical attention. When contacted, the Oyo State epidemiologist, Dr. Akinfemi Akinode, told our reporter that he was not permitted to speak with the press and that it is the rule of the state government that unauthorized official must not grant press access to information. Also, the Permanent Secretary, Oyo State Ministry of Health, Dr. Muftau Ayola, when contacted to speak on measures put in place by the state government to curtail the spread of the killer disease, said a lot is being done by the government to check the outbreak of cholera in the state. At the neighboring Ogun State, about 25 people were reported killed by the disease, which has spread to other parts of the state. Still on cholera outbreak, at least 25 people are feared dead following the cholera outbreak in Magboro or Bafemi, Owode local government area of Ogun State, according to a report. Galaxy TV News gathered that the outbreak had hit Arepo, Akeron, Akintonde, Shofolari and Abuleoko communities of Magboro, creating anxiety among the residents. The Commissioner for Health, Dr. Tomikoka, confirmed the incident, which he said is predominant among Okada riders and scavengers in the area. The chairman of Community Development Committee in Magboro, Oluwasegun Oladosu, told our correspondent on Tuesday that 15 deaths have been recorded. He added that about 10 houses who relocated from the community to Kara settlement have equally died of cholera. The CDC chairman said a government team had visited the community and provided drugs and cholera treatment and prevention. As part of efforts to strengthen the voter accreditation process during elections, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has disclosed plan to deploy the bimodal voter accreditation system (BVAs) for elections in the country. INEC Chairman Mahmoud Yakubu made the disclosure at the 3rd quarterly meeting with civil society organizations in Abuja Tuesday. Yakubu revealed that the Commission intends to carry out a pilot phase exercise using the new BVAS device during the upcoming Isoko South 1 State Assembly constituency by-election in Delta State, stated for 11 September 2021. According to him, the new device will be used first for fingerprint authentication during accreditation where it fails for facial authentication. However, where the voter fails both, the voter will not be allowed to vote. The chairman expressed optimism that the use of the newly upgraded device during elections will eliminate identity theft.
The functionality of the CPAD has now been integrated into the IVED, that's the INEC voter enrollment device currently used for voter registration. On election day, the same device will become the bimodal voter accreditation system, BVAS, to be used first for fingerprint identification during accreditation and where it fails for facial identification. We believe that this will eliminate the possibility of voting by identity theft using another person's PVC.
Speaking on behalf of civil society organizations, the convener, Nigeria CSO Situation Room, NLB, called for transparency and accountability in the nation's electoral process while urging Nigerians to actively participate in the ongoing continuous voter registration.
We are, of course, preparing the different civil societies. All the civil society organizations are really focused in Anambra State, and the reasons are that we believe that if it goes well in Anambra State, there will be continuous improvement in other elections that are coming up. So we want to ask the Commission to continue to keep open with the information sharing that is going on, keep giving the information. We have been participating in the process towards accreditation of civil society organizations that will be monitoring the Anambra State election.
Meanwhile, the Commission said 2,729,819 fresh voters have so far pre-registered online, while a total of 717,947 Nigerians have completed the CVR in designated centers in 5 weeks. You're still on to Galaxy Television News. Time for us to go for another break. We'll be right back with more report. Don't go away. If you're just tuning in, this is Galaxy Television and you're watching the news. Operatives of the Ogun State Police Command have arrested a 64-year-old Randy man, Ayotunde Taiwo, for defiling a 2-year-old girl, name withheld. The Police Public Relations Officer in the state, DSP Abimbola Oyeyemi, disclosed this in a statement on Tuesday. Oyeyemi said the suspect was arrested following a complaint lodged at Agbado Divisional Headquarters by the mother of the victim. The PPRO added that the mother reported that at about 11 a.m. Tuesday, she noticed that her daughter could not walk well. Oyeyemi said upon inspection of her body, she saw blood gushing out of her private part. Upon the report, the DPO, Agbado Division, CSP Kehinde Kuranga, detailed his detectives to the scene where the suspect was promptly arrested. The PPRO, however, said the Commissioner of Police, Edward Ajogun, has ordered the immediate transfer of the suspect to Family Support Unit at Ota Area Command for further investigation and prosecution. Governor Samuel Otom of Benue State has further expressed his administration commitment to continually support the police and other security agencies in the fight against terrorism, banditry, kidnapping, and other violent crimes against the Benue people in the state. Governor Otom stated these when he received the 36th Commissioner of Police, CP Olatunji Akingbola, in company of his management team in Government House, Makurdi, where he said more than 100 security agents, including the police, have been killed while implementing the anti-open grazing law. The governor who took a swipe at the leadership of Miyetti Allah Association for their recent unsavory comments and killings in Benue and parts of Nigeria, however, called on the federal government to come out clean and arrest them if they are not condoning them. The new commissioner of police says he came to solicit the governor's assistance in areas of gadgets, logistics to effectively fight crime, particularly cultism.
Fortunately, now the presidency will not come out to condemn or to say anything concerning what the ATL said, because they are part of them. And I asked them to come out clean on this matter. It is unfortunate. Our people are dying. For me, I commend the Secretary of Justice. You here in Benue State, you have been doing your best. And I have said more than 100 security men have been killed in the course of providing security for lives and property in Benue State, in the course of implementing.
The main problem that we are having now is communication. Immediately you get out of Makurdi Metropolis, police cannot communicate except with GSM. Fundamentally, the breeding ground of all crime in this state is cultism. Because every youth in the cell that are interviewed, when you arrest them, it's unfortunate. The point of proof are so difficult that when you take them to court, immediately they will be bailed.
The governor, who also responded to some of the requests made by the police commissioner seeking assistance to enable the command discharge its professional duties and prosecute cult-related crimes, which has become worrisome, directed him to work out a framework with the Attorney General and promised continuous support to the people in order to have a crime-free society.
We have not committed any evil. We have done the right thing by ensuring that we are law-abiding. Mr. Commissioner, you are free. Any person that is disobeying the laws of the land, please, I will not come in support of such a person. Go ahead and do your legitimate work. Arrest them and prosecute them. May I?
It is now time for us to join our international desk for more news.
And tracking stories from the international scene. The Polish parliament has backed a state of emergency on the Belarus border amid a surge in migration and upcoming Russian-led military exercises. The tough law bans large gatherings and limits movement for 30 days in areas along Poland's border with Belarus. Poland accuses Belarus of inducing migrants to fly there on the false promise of legal entry to the EU. Belarus is not an EU member but borders 3 countries, which are Polish MPs voted to approve the law on Monday, though many opposition politicians said the emergency measures were disproportionate, as close to 200 towns in a 3 km, that's about 2-mile strip along the border, are now off-limit. By barring journalists from the area, they accused the government of trying to cover up a practice of pushing people seeking asylum back to Belarus. Poland and fellow EU states, Lithuania and Latvia, have seen massive increases in migrants from Iraq, Afghanistan and other Middle Eastern and Asian countries since the start of the summer. Last month alone, Polish border guards detained 8 times as many people crossing the border illegally as they did in the whole of 2020. Human rights campaigners have expressed concern about migrants with no shelter stock on the border between Poland and Belarus. Protests against the treatment of migrants at the border were held outside Parliament ahead of Monday's vote. Poland has laid barbed wire coils and is building a solid fence along its border with Belarus, where hundreds of troops have been sent. Lithuania and Latvia have taken similar steps to reinforce their borders with Belarus. Away from bilateral relations, the Taliban have fired warning shots to disperse the crowd at a large protest in the Afghan capital, Kabul. Video footage from the scene shows people running to safety while heavy gunfire can be heard in the background. Hundreds of protesters took to the street on Tuesday to denounce Taliban rule and demand women's rights. Protesters also chanted anti-Pakistan slogans, as many believe neighboring Pakistan supports the Taliban, which the country denies. Guards at a nearby bank opened its basement car park to dozens of women who sheltered from the gunfire for about 20 minutes. One of the protesters told newsmen some journalists were prevented from filming at the rally. Afghanistan's solo news agency reported that its cameraman was arrested and detained by the Taliban for nearly 3 hours. A former government official who asked to remain anonymous told newsmen that Taliban members were taking close-up photos of leading protesters, possibly to help identify them later. Women have been protesting for the past week, but on Tuesday, men also joined their calls for equality and safety. Many observers had commented that there were few men at the previous women-led rallies. The demonstrations come one day after Ahmad Massoud, the leader of the anti-Taliban fighters in Afghanistan's Pashur Valley, called for a national uprising by civilians against the militant. Many protesters showed support for the resistance forces, who say they are still fighting off the Taliban in Pashur. The Taliban on Monday claimed victory in the province, the final pocket of territory which has remained outside their rule. Let's stay in the Middle East for a moment, as military plans dealing with Iran's nuclear program have been greatly accelerated. Israel's military chief warned as questions on the ability to revive a landmark accord limiting Tehran's weapons development continue to grow. Operations for possible actions against Iran are being intensified. Chief of General Staff Aviv Kohaviv said in an interview published on Monday, adding a significant chunk of the boost to the defense budget, as was recently agreed, was intended for this purpose. He also told newsmen that it was indeed a very complicated job with much more intelligence, much more operational capabilities, much more armament. He said efforts were underway throughout the Middle East to check Iran's allies. According to him, the main objective is minimizing Iranian presence in the Middle East with an emphasis on Syria. But these operations take place throughout the Middle East. Meanwhile, U.S. Defense Chief Lloyd Austin, speaking in Qatar on Tuesday, said Iranian military activity in the Middle East continue to ramp up tensions. He said Iran's support for terrorism and its willingness to supply increasingly lethal weapons to non-state groups undermines the regional stability that we all seek. Since April, the other parties to the nuclear deal, China, Germany, France, Britain and Russia, have attempted to get the United States and Iran to return to the historic accord after Washington withdrew in 2018. Iran has long claimed its nuclear program is peaceful, noting it has worked with the International Atomic Energy Agency on its activities. And finally, on the international scene, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin have met with Qatar's Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani and other top Qatari officials in Doha for talks in Afghanistan shortly after the Taliban claimed to have taken full control of the country. Blinken and Austin are the most senior U.S. officials to visit the Gulf since the Taliban's lightning seizure of Afghanistan in August. Qatar, which hosts a major U.S. airbase, has been the gateway for 58,000 people airlifted out of Afghanistan, nearly half the total number evacuated by U.S.-led forces after the Taliban's takeover, Blinken said on Tuesday. In a meeting with Qatar's Emir Monday night, Blinken thanked the Gulf state ruler for Qatar's extraordinary support in facilitating the safe transit of U.S. citizens, partners and other Afghans at risk during the U.S.'s chaotic military pullout from Afghanistan, according to a Department of State readout. On Tuesday, Blinken and Austin met with Qatari Foreign Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani and Defense Chief Khalid bin Mohammed Al Attiyah. Blinken said Washington would continue to work with Qatar and other regional partners to evacuate U.S. citizens and vulnerable Afghans from Afghanistan. Qatari teams were continuing to work towards reopening Kabul International Airport, which the Taliban took control of when U.S. troops left on August 30. And that's a wrap on stories from the international scene.
And now to round off this bulletin, let's bring you entertainment news.
Welcome to Entertainment News. September 6, 2021, it became known that Wizkid Made in Lagos has risen to a new position of number 28 on the Billboard 200. This comes after an excellent remix with Justin Bieber, who rose to number 13 on the Billboard Hot 100, and Made in Lagos Dulex. With this new pick, Made in Lagos becomes Nigerian highest charting album on the Billboard 200, surpassing Burna Boy's Twice as Tall, which peaks at number 54. Last week, Made in Lagos peaked at number 58. When the album dropped in October 2020, Made in Lagos peaked at number 80. In a review of Made in Lagos Deluxe, it was noted that Made in Lagos has risen to number 58 on the Billboard 200. The highest chart position for a Nigerian album on the chart is number 54 by Burna Boy Twice as Tall. With the Deluxe version and surging success of Essence, Made in Lagos could rise even further on the charts. Meanwhile, popular Nigerian movie star Eniola Badmus celebrated her 44th birthday on September 7, 2021 to the joy of fans. To mark this special occasion, the actress took to a verified Instagram page to share a series of her gorgeous photos as fans gushed over them. Not stopping there, Eniola accompanied each snap with lengthy notes where she reminisced on the previous year and showed gratitude for experiencing a new one. Happy birthday to you, Eniola Badmus, from all of us at Galaxy Television. Meanwhile, former housemate of Nigeria reality TV show Big Brother Naija, Lucy Edit, has gifted herself a car. The reality TV star took to her Instagram story on Monday, September 7, 2021, where she shared photos and videos of a new ride. Lucy's car is a 2008 Lexus ES350. Congratulations to you, Lucy. Meanwhile, on a sad note, actress Tayo, aka Sindodo Tayo, is bereaved as she has lost her mom. In her post, she prayed that Allah forgives all her shortcomings. She said, "May your beautiful soul rest in peace. To everyone that called and came over, thank you very much. And if I didn't pick your calls, I'll definitely get back. May her soul rest in perfect peace." Now, the family of actor Victor Olauton has released his funeral arrangement. According to the obituary, a service of songs will hold at the RCCG Fountain of Life Parish in Ikeja, Lagos State on Wednesday, September 15, while his remains will be interred on Friday, September 16. The actor died on August 26, 2021, and had been bedridden for 5 years after being involved in a ghastly accident that occurred at Apple Junction in Festec, Lagos, while he was driving to a movie set. He died at the age of 69. And finally, on entertainment news, Big Brother Naija star Tega has tendered a public apology to her husband, Ajabo Chris Lawrence, over her affair with Boma during the show. In an interview, Tega said she had spoken to her husband and that they were good. According to Tega, she and Boma got carried away by the attention they gave each other during the show, and that coming out of the house, they have realized they have pushed the button too far. When told that she might also need to apologize to her husband, the mom of one said, "Of course, I and my husband have spoken and we are good." This, however, contradicts her husband, who in an interview he granted on Monday said he's yet to speak with her since she got evicted. During the interview, Boma was asked if he knew Tega was married, and he responded yes. When asked if he should have created boundaries knowing that Tega was married, Boma responded by saying everything about him in the house was just vibes. Meanwhile, Tega drew controversies as she ditched her wedding ring while on a media tour following her eviction from the show. But while in the house, Tega always wore her wedding ring on her left hand alongside a bracelet. So the controversy is, why is she ditching her wedding ring now on a media tour? And that'll be all on entertainment news.
And that's the sizable package on Galaxy Television News. Thanks for watching. I am Solomon Offem. Bye-bye.